That's it. Good, good, good. Singers, anything that you want to communicate to people on your voice parts at all?
Well, something we talk about a lot with this piece is how to say the second word in the title. So
Really?
I defer to Andrea because we also have another piece in our repertoire called Underneath the Stars, and the word gently is also very prominent in that. It's how we treat the T, isn't it?
Yeah, there's just so many different ways of you can make it really sort of sibilant and it comes out across as sing gently, but sometimes, especially when it's this kind of lilting piece, that can feel like a bit too much in the line and it kind of breaks up the line. So we try to kind of just drop it in really subtly so we don't spend too much air or too much effort on it. So it comes a little bit more like sing gently.
Could we do, say, measure 45 and show you what happens if we don't
I would
make
love
this
to
special?
hear this.
So if we were to say it gently, as you might say it, or even sing it, it would sound like this. So just take us from 45.
45, please. Ready? 2, 3. Wow. Wow.
So it's quite a big...
It's profound, actually.
And it's not like we're all doing a lot of deliberate gently, but just within the sonority and sound world that this piece creates, if you do have that sibilant T, it can really pop out. The other thing I wanted maybe we could talk about, which I think is also highlighted in this very passage, which I find tricky as a singer, but I think is very important, and that's trying to not make the line sound as though it goes up and down. So to try and equalize, I mean, if we did it again and made it, took away the effect that we're giving it and made a high note sound high and a low note sound low, you'll see what we
shall
mean.
we do
So
it?
we could do the same thing.
The exact same place?
Yeah,
45?
yeah.
Okay, ready? 2, 3.
That seventh at the end. That seventh at the end in particular is really it's really awkward, but you just have to decide that it's really easy and
Okay,
go with it.
so for then singers who are out there, what's the technique that you're
Well,
using?
I think maybe people do it in a different way, but something I do is I think down on a high note and up on a low note. And you can even do it with, like, I actually almost do it with my knees, so I would go always, rather than always. So maybe we could do it with our knees, just ever so slightly go down on the all, and you'll...
Yeah, do you mind?
So we could go from the same place, and people will just show you when they think... It's all about thinking down at the high moments, I think, is the...
I love this.
The other thing to add to it maybe is that the low note needs to be clear, so it can't be like always, always. The low note has to be quite clear as well. So thinking down on the high notes.
Yeah, take your breath right in the middle of the phrase and don't let it come away from that.
Yeah. And we'll see if we can show it.
Okay,
So
ready?
clear low notes and down on the high notes.
Same place. Ready? 2, 3. That's amazing. That is amazing.
But it's so difficult in music that's as fine in terms of its texture.
Yeah.
If you're out there singing Beethoven 9, you don't have to worry about this sort of thing. But when the texture is so clear and crystalline, having that sense of complete parity across the phrase is really, really...
So what I'm going to do now is I'll go and hang out with the group, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Awesome.
Seems totally natural and
Awkward family photo time.
This is exactly how we all sit when we're together.
All right, so let's get on. It's a question from Stacey, who says, I love feeling the motion through the song, like soft waves. I wonder, what is the image that you have in your mind while you're conducting, Eric? And for the singers, what images do we have?
Ah, that's beautiful. Well, let's start with you, Andrea, or singers. What images do you have, out of curiosity?
The image of you, Eric. I kind of mean that obviously half in tongue-in-cheek, but also I think it's true, because we do stand there looking at you, but all of our interaction with this particular piece has been actually with you
Oh
the
yeah,
room.
you've never. Have you ever performed it without me?
We don't tend to walk around with Chris in our pocket as much as we'd
We'd like to.
as much as we'd love to. So one of the things I think is great about your direction is the fact it's very artistic and balletic. And so genuinely, when I sing the piece, even when I hear the piece now, I can see you sort of moving around. So that is genuinely my image of the piece.
Is that true? That's a great. It's especially humbling for me to have Barney say that, because you, of course, you rarely work with a conductor, right? And I think we were all surprised when we recorded the album. We weren't sure how. I especially was not sure, like, what am I doing here? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's this natural dance that we do together that it feels so effortless. Did you feel that as well? I mean, we're on camera, so please.
We spent that week kind of extending to sort of Voces 11, really, with Emma playing cello and Chris on piano as well. We kind of sort of all became one unit.
It
So
really
kind
felt
of-
like that.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought.
just an extension, really.
There was a lot of trust involved, I think, and I think that's one thing that we do really well is trust each other, and that felt immediate as soon as we got together in the same room. I mean, there's photos of you laying on the ground as we sort of ran it ourselves, you know, and
Yep.
that's so cool that you could trust us just to do that, and that we trust you as a conductor as well. I think that exchange is really beautiful.
But I'm starting this instrument completely from scratch, but I'm not starting music from scratch, right? Because I know,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't listened to any harpeggists, because there aren't really very many. But I mean, like there are a couple cool people doing stuff with arpeggios, but I know how the guitar sounds, I know how the piano sounds, but more importantly than either of those two skills, and way more than either of my skill set on both those instruments, the piano and the guitar, I know how I know what they're capable of doing, and so it's a very intuitive process. So there's obviously a part of it which is a conscious thing, where it's like, well, where are the notes? Let's figure it out. And once you know where the notes are, I think my brain's quite good at sort of mapping it out. I see it, sort of visualize it as a system. And once you see a system, then all you have to do is be willing to make mistakes and do it a lot, because then you improve. It's very automatic. I mean, I think that a lot of the time what holds people back, that there are two things that hold people back from learning new things. One is that they believe that they won't be able to do it. And the other thing is that they're worried that if they do it, then they'll make mistakes. And both of those things with music just aren't real. Like, there's no such thing as a mistake in music. There are strong decisions and weak decisions, but every single note works with every single chord. I mean, what else do you need to
Amen.
say?